Today on Turner Classic Movies, we salute screen legend Natalie Wood when she stars as a Mexican half-breed on the run from killers with Tab Hunter through the burning hills. Then Natalie pays the price of romance with corporate raider James Garner in Cash McCall. Followed by Natalie as a 30s Hollywood starlet paying the price of fame and fortune inside Daisy Clover. Natalie Wood is the center of attention on Turner Classic Movies today.
We have great news for you. The forecast is for bright days ahead in this theater. Happiness for everyone. Because MGM is bringing you a new musical to lift you right up to the blue skies.
From the war, made a solemn pledge to meet again today. They had their glorious reunion at noon, proving true friendship never dies. And I know that just like me, they are all feeling a wee bit misty. Bless you.
You're about the prettiest program coordinator I've ever seen. You know, a fella isn't safe alone in a cab with a girl these days.
All right.
Feeling so unlike myself, always used to dislike myself.
Baby, knock me out. You're the fraud and put in Broadway show. You're a chick with a kick like a rodeo. Money much, got the punch, the lazy low. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, boy.
Your mind, and thanks for Fort Knox sealed and signed. But I've got a guy who's Clifton Webb and Marlon Brando combined. Oh.
What do you think, Preston? I don't believe that would work.
Oh, I think it would.
Oh, I think it would, too. Oh, it's 2 to 1. Let's try it.
Yeah.
All right, let's try it. Sit down.
Oh, it's 2 against 1. Sure. Sorry you lost.
Get into the steam.
Yeah.
You see
Can I have your autograph?
No.
Okay. Pinched.
Yeah.
That reminds me.
What's the matter?
Just something's been pinched me.
Oh, that's just your imagination. It's your imagination. Don't worry about it. What is that?
My imagination.
All right. Why, you silly-looking goon! What's the idea of dropping that hot towel on my face?
I was burning my hands.
Oh.
Now we're going to go, because we're gonna win the most of all the fun along the Midway.
Step inside. She never fakes it.
There's a ride that really makes it fun on the wonderful Midway.
Today on Turner Classic Movies, Natalie Wood goes to work early in a double feature, starting when she romances a high-stakes corporate raider in Cash McCall. Then Natalie rises and falls from grace in the 1930s Hollywood studio system Inside Daisy Clover, followed by Guy Kibbe as a retired millionaire heading into the dry cleaning business in The Big Noise. Get your day off to the right start with Turner Classic Movies here today.
Business has been a great joy in my life. I've loved every minute of it.
My dear man, I've been on more world cruises than you could shake a stick.
With her dynamic spirit, restrained sexuality, and refreshing optimism, Doris Day became one of the screen's most beloved all-American girls. Cast mostly in lighthearted films during the 1950s and 60s, she became one of Hollywood's top box office attractions.
I never caught her acting as though it were difficult. When she came on the set, she was in control of what she was going to do, and it was usually dead right.
If you don't get out of here this instant, Mr. Canary, or Mr. Calamity, or whatever your name is.
Mister, you thought I was a man? Come to think of it, that ain't so funny.
Day's ability to perform on stage was a talent that came at an early age. At 12, Doris Kappelhoff and her fellow classmate danced their way to first place in a talent contest in her hometown of Cincinnati. With aspirations of becoming a professional dancer, Doris set her sights on Hollywood. But the night before her family was to leave for California, something happened that would shatter her dancing dreams.
She was on a double date, and she was in the back seat of a car, and the car was, if you can imagine, hit by a train. And she had a couple of broken legs. And during the recuperative period, really to give her something to do, she began to take singing lessons.
Day made the best of her newfound talent. At 15, she began singing professionally on the radio and in a nightclub run by bandleader Barney Rapp. By 17, she had taken her stage name from her signature song, Day After Day. She had also married trombonist Al Jordan and was earning a living on the road, singing with some of the biggest bands of the 1940s, including Les Brown and his Band of Renown.
Like that ship on my horizon, you see.
She said Les was like a big brother when they were on the road together. And everyone in the band was, you know, very respectful. And she really thinks of all those people from those days as kind of, you know, family.
But as her singing career flourished, her relationship to Jordan hit a sour note, and no amount of optimism could save her stormy marriage. In February 1943, they divorced, leaving Day as a single mother to her son Terry. 3 years later, Day walked down the aisle again, but this marriage was over after only 8 months. Devastated, she turned to Hollywood to help her forget her marital woes.
She went to a party, kind of a, you know, a quote-unquote Hollywood party one night, and a A songwriter named Sammy Kahn happened to be at this party. And he had written the score for a film called Romance on the High Seas that Warner Brothers was doing. And Doris happened to be there. And someone asked her to please get up and sing. And she did. And Sammy Kahn rushed over and said, "My God, this is like Providence. I've got to take you to Warner Brothers tomorrow. You've got to test for the film." And he took her in to Warner's, and she read for the part, and he said the whole place lit up.
Still upset by the failure of her second marriage, Day broke down during part of her screen test for Warner Brothers. However, studio executives could sense Day's energy and spirit through the tears, and they signed her to a 7-year contract. Although she had no acting experience, Warner Brothers took a chance by casting Day in the lead role of director Michael Curtiz's Romance on the High Seas. They had no reason to regret it. Day got high marks from the critics, and her song, It's Magic, became a $1 million seller.
When we walk hand in hand, the world becomes a wonderland. It's magic.
Romance on the High Seas was the first of 17 pictures Day did at Warner Brothers. In contrast to the blonde bombshells who were popular at that time, the studio created a homespun apple pie image for Doris.
There's a great line from Oscar Levant, who did 3 or 4 movies with Doris at Warner Brothers. And Oscar Levant said, I knew Doris Day before she was a virgin.
I'm asking you to be my wife.
Your married wife? Oh, Bill.
She just had all those facets kind of that people could recognize and associate with. They think, oh yeah, I know somebody like that, or I wish I did know somebody, you know.
Uncle Max, ever since I was a little girl, you and I have played fair in everything, haven't we? Don't you trust me?
With my life. But this is money.
I just flew in from the Windy City. The Windy City is mighty pretty, but they ain't got what we got.
Day's 1953 role as the pistol-packing tomboy in Calamity Jane was one of her last roles at Warner Brothers. After her contract expired, she went into business for herself, forming her own production company with her husband of 2 years, Marty Melcher. Working independently, Day was now able to choose her own roles and broaden her acting skills. Playing tough-as-nails dance hall girl Ruth Etting in Love Me or Leave Me, Day surprised her fans and won over critics with a powerful and dramatic performance.
I was a hit tonight. A big hit. It's a chance to be somebody. It's the Follies. It's Broadway. It's a chance to meet decent people and to make friends. It's what I've wanted and what I've worked for. Why should I leave it? What sense does it make?
It doesn't have to make sense. It's what I want, the way it's going to be.
You can't tell me what to do.
Day would go on choosing parts that differed from the happy-go-lucky roles she did at Warner Brothers. Parts that challenged her, like Alfred Hitchcock's The Man Who Knew Too Much, and another thriller, Julie.
Well, if this is what married life is going to be, then we have nothing. Absolutely nothing. And I can't bear it anymore, Lyle. I really can't. And I won't. You're hurting. Take your foot off of mine.
Although Day starred in both drama and comedy, her biggest triumphs came from the light-hearted films she did in the 1960s. Co-starring with Rock Hudson, she embarked on a series of sophisticated comedies that took her existing wholesome image and gave it a sexy spin. Audiences responded to the Hudson Day comedies, and the 2 stars became box office champions.
I think they only did, it could be 3 and it might be 4 movies, but a lot of people think they must have done 30 because it became a whole genre, and a lot of other people began making movies like that.
While the beginning of the 1960s marked Day's best years in Hollywood, it all came crashing down as the decade came to an end. In 1968, Marty Melcher, her husband of 17 years, died suddenly of a heart attack. Then the unthinkable happened to America's girl next door. She discovered that her $20 million in earnings had been mismanaged or embezzled by her husband and his lawyer. She also found herself in a television series that Melcher had signed her to without her knowledge. Wanting justice against her late husband's lawyer, Day fought back with a lawsuit. After 5 years of litigation, she was awarded over $22 million. She also kept her deal with her television show, and it became a popular series for 5 years.
I think the day that she finished the 5th year she called me and she said, am I right that I've now completed that obligation? And I said, yeah, that's the full extent of it. And she quit. That was it. She just decided to do something else.
Now in retirement, Day lives on her ranch in Carmel, California, where she devotes her time and energy to the Doris Day Pet Foundation. Although she has stepped out of the Hollywood spotlight, Doris Day remains a favorite to audiences who still cherish her warmth and refreshing optimism. Happy birthday to the sweetest gal in Hollywood, Doris Day. See The Grass Bottom Boat, Please Don't Eat the Daisies, and Teacher's Pet, tonight, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern on Turner Classic Movies.
Meet Tony, age 7, American as pie a la mode, and Hiko, age 9, Japanese as sukiyaki. Two little fugitives on the lam in Japan. How come? It started when Tony, en route to join his parents in Tokyo, fell out of the sky.
To all passengers, prepare to ditch.
And Hiko helped fish him out of the sea. And then their adventure began.
Father said he get police. Police take you away. You do something bad, don't let your father put me in jail.
Across the length and width of Japan they fled, homeless, friendless, facing 1,000 dangers, while two nations held their breath, and two sets of parents were frantic.
Oh, it's all my fault if anything ever happens to him.
Mary, stop it. He's going to be all right. What a glowing panorama to feast your eyes on. Photographed entirely in Japan in the amazingly vivid Technorama process. And how delightful when the young gentlemen are treated to the ritual of the bath and entertained by geisha girls.
We don't do this at my house. Don't do on boat, too. I like it. Me, too.
When they hide out in a burlesque house and theater. And then how scary when the police net tightens and panic drives them to the edge of disaster.
Hi there, I'm Robert Osborne. Tonight on Turner Classic Movies, we're honoring one of Hollywood's favorite stars, Doris Day, on her birthday. First at 7 p.m., Doris Day plays a young widow mistaken for a Soviet spy while being chased by an amorous scientist in a comedy called The Glass Bottom Boat, co-starring Rod Taylor. Then at 9 p.m., Doris Day and David Niven play a big city couple who decide to give life in the country a try in the movie Please Don't Eat the Daisies. And at 11 p.m., a cynical newspaper editor, played by Clark Gable, enrolls in Doris Day's journalism class, and he soon becomes Teacher's Pet. Do join us for our birthday party for Doris Day tonight. The fun begins at 7 p.m. Eastern right here on Turner Classic Movies.